She walked into the briefing room like she owned the oxygen in it, calm, sharp, and carrying a presence you could feel before you even saw her face. But none of the generals expected what would happen when she placed a simple pen on the table, and the room froze. From which part of the country are you watching from? Drop it in the comments. The conference room inside Fort Ridge Command Center was normally a place of rigid protocol and unshakable hierarchy. But that morning something fell off. Whispers had been moving through the base. Something about a new civilian advisor, someone specially appointed for oversight on a classified logistics project. Most thought it would be another bureaucrat with a clipboard and too many questions. No one expected her. When Eleanor Hart stepped through the heavy oak door, the air shifted. She was in her late 30s, elegant but unpretentious, wearing a navy blouse and carrying a leather folder in one hand. The officers in the room barely glanced up until she reached the table and spoke with a calm authority that didn't match her civilian badge. General Rowan, a decorated figure with 30 years of service, barely looked at her when he asked for the preliminary documents. His attention remained fixed on the endless stream of reports on his desk. Eleanor simply placed the folder down, then reached into her pocket and slid a sleek black pen toward him. "You'll need this, General," she said, her tone steady, almost too steady. That's when it began, the moment everything shifted from routine to something that felt electric. Rowan reached for the pen without looking, but just as his fingers brushed it, something caught his peripheral vision, something glinting on her left hand. He looked up and froze. The ring, large, sapphire blue, set in a silver band engraved with symbols almost nobody outside a very specific circle would recognize, halted him like a command shouted across a battlefield. His pulse kicked, his jaw tightened, and suddenly the entire room fell silent. Captain Morales stopped mid-sentence. Major Kent's brows pulled together in confusion. Everyone saw the change in Rowan's face, but no one understood why. "Where did you get that?" the general finally asked, his voice lower, sharper, the kind of voice used for interrogation. Eleanor didn't answer immediately. She simply folded her hands in front of her, letting the light hit the ring again. "This," she said softly, "it was given to me, not by a husband, not by a family member, not by a lover." The kind of answer he expected, the kind of answer he wanted. Instead, she met Rowan's stare with unwavering calm. "You already know who gave it to me, General." His breath stopped. Rowan stood from his chair, so abruptly it scraped loudly against the marble floor. The officers exchanged alarmed looks. This wasn't the general they knew. Rowan wasn't just surprised. He looked afraid. The ring wasn't ordinary. It was part of a covert recognition system once used by a disbanded intelligence unit. The Phantom Directive, an elite classification so deep in the Pentagon that even hearing its name required clearance. And the only people who carried such rings were operatives who had authority far above traditional rank structures. But the directive was presumed dissolved years ago. Every member either retired or vanished from record. Seeing the ring again was like seeing a ghost walk into the room. Rowan's voice trembled. "You were never listed." "I wasn't supposed to be," Eleanor replied. Captain Morales stepped forward cautiously. "General, is everything all right?" Rowan didn't answer. His eyes were locked on Eleanor, as if trying to solve a puzzle he'd hoped would never reappear. "Why are you here?" he asked her. "Why now?" Eleanor took a slow breath. "Because the operation you're about to authorize is compromised. 2 of the supply channels have been infiltrated. Someone on your own staff is feeding classified intel to a foreign intermediary." Her words landed like dropped steel. The room went still. Morales exchanged glances with Kent, both of them stiffening as if preparing for an unseen threat. Rowan sat down slowly, rubbing his temples. "If what you're saying is true, Hart, then—" "It is true," she cut in, "and I can prove it." She opened her folder, revealing documents, timestamps, intercepted messages. The officers leaned in, scanning each page with growing shock. Morales pointed at one message thread. "These are internal authentication codes, but they are ours." Eleanor nodded. "And they were used last night. That's why I'm here." Then she looked up, eyes narrowing slightly. "But the leak isn't the only reason, General." Rowan stiffened. "What do you mean?" You've been compromised too. The general's face drained of color. Explain yourself. Eleanor reached into the folder again, this time pulling a photo. A grainy image of Rowan speaking with a man in a dimly lit parking structure. Morales inhaled sharply. Kent stepped back in disbelief. Rowan's hand shook. That isn't what it looks like. I know, Eleanor said calmly. Because he wasn't there to blackmail you. You were meeting him because he was an old friend who died 3 years ago. That photo was fabricated. Someone planted it in intelligence channels to discredit you, to remove you. You were the target long before I walked into this room. The general slumped back in his chair, overwhelmed. So, the directive they sent you. Eleanor looked him dead in the eyes. The directive didn't dissolve, General. Not really. It went deeper underground.